To have the attitude of, because there's this collective belief that keeps on popping into my head, and because I'm aware of it now, it's just like, I know it's not who I am, but it's literally, it sounds like I'm a separate person in this real world, separate from the environment, like victim to what's happening to me, victim to whatever's happening to me, not realizing that it's not happening to you because you're not separate. It's happening as you. And so I think there's just this collective belief that is bullshit. And you want to have the attitude of like, look, my world that I perceive is me. It's my own creation. It's like we're all these genius painters that paint our life with our beliefs, and the perception is the masterpiece. But it's like you are the masterpiece. And you just want to have the attitude of like, well, if I'm all that is, then the only reason that I'm here is to have fun with myself, right? So it's the only logical reason for any of this to exist, is to have fun. So you might as well create, like, yeah, it's an illusion, it's all a hallucination, but you might as well make it a beautiful hallucination, right? You might as well make it an elegant life, because there's no purpose, or it seriously is just for the fun of it. So go have some fun. People think that the contrast is some separate created thing, but every time you open your eyes and you perceive anything is you. It's like your own creation. And yeah, you can argue that you were conditioned and maybe the beliefs that you hold aren't even yours, and I mean, you're probably not even aware of the beliefs that you are acting out on, but you create the contrast. If everything that you perceive is you, then the contrast is self-created as well. And you're literally bouncing off your own self, and you're using you as like material or a platform to inspire something new, inspire what you want. And take responsibility for the contrast, because you created it. And something only becomes contrast when you actually define it. Like if you see yourself as the space, and there's objects arising in the space that is you, which are thoughts, objects, like material matter, but they're really just, everything's just thought. Think of that. Everything in your experience is really just a thought. And when you define the thought, or you focus upon the thought, or it's always like a judgment. Like when you polarize the thought, then it becomes contrast, because you think you're separate from it. And that's a good thing, because it allows you to self-reflect. Like it allows you to go, I'm separate from this thing, it isn't actually who I am, and therefore this is what I prefer. But if you knew yourself as all that is, then you wouldn't want to change anything, because you are all that is, and all that is love. So why would love have any desire to change itself? Because it's in love with everything, because it is love. So it's tricky. It's like you really have to see that everything you experience is you, because it's perception, and it's perception happening, and you create the contrast with your definitions and through your beliefs, like the veil through which you look at the world. If you think you're a separate person, most of it's going to be contrast. Because you're like always bumping up against you, Think of contrast, black and white.